They say that there is a belief here that that is actually what's going to help the rebellion continue, the rebels continue their uprising and maybe make their way all the way to Tripoli, as they say. So a bit of disappointing. And one woman was telling me just a short while ago, how long is it going to take? For how long is the world going to watch the bloodletting, our people being massacred without anyone helping us? So there is a bit of, I think, certainly at the grassroots level, a bit of people are quite puzzled that it's taking so much time. That woman actually said, you know, they keep on talking about democracy, they keep on talking about human rights, they keep on saying that the Arabs should take their own fate in their own hand, and when we do, nobody's helping us. So I think a lot of disappointment when it comes to the no-fly zones.
And Hoda, just bring us up to date with where most of the military action was today and the consequences.
Well, the rebels are coming under very, very heavy fire, whether it's coming from the air, whether some of them say it's also coming from the sea. Certainly artillery is being used, more surface-to-air missiles are being used. I think the morale is quite low at the moment at the front line. You won't see any more of these cries of victory that we saw last week or just a few days ago. There is a feeling that the counter-offensive that they really people were so scared of has started, and that this is just the beginning, and that things could get much worse. There are airstrikes now, as we understand it, in Brega. Brega is only 200 kilometers away from Benghazi, and really it is the last important town before reaching Benghazi. So I think there is a bit of tension now here on the ground, that who knows what's going to happen next, and people feel extremely unprotected. As even the rebels would tell you, you know, with our Kalashnikovs and with our anti-aircraft guns, we can't do much really, but to sort of come back and wait and see what's going to happen next.
Okay, Hoda Abdelhamid, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to date there from Benghazi. Well, as Hoda was saying, there's been fierce fighting between government troops and rebel forces in the key oil towns of Brega and Ras Lanouf. And now Muammar Gaddafi's son, Saif, says that loyalist forces are on the verge of a full-scale military offensive against opposition fighters.
It's time for action. We are moving now. This is our country. We will never, ever give up. And we will never, ever surrender. This is our country. We fight here in Libya. We die here in Libya. And the Libyan people, they will never, ever welcome the NATO. We will never, ever welcome the Americans here. If they want to support the militia, do it. But I will tell you from now, you're going to lose. We will win. And we're not afraid of the American fleet, NATO, France, European. This is our country. We live here, we die here. We will never, ever surrender to those terrorists. Libyan nation is so united now. We are so strong.
Well, Libya's government is also cracking down on foreign journalists in the country. Reporters Without Borders says 2 journalists missing since Sunday have been arrested in western Libya. One of them is Gaith Abdul Ahad, a correspondent from the British newspaper The Guardian. He was with fellow journalist André Neto from the Brazilian newspaper Estado. And the BBC says 3 of its staff were detained, beaten and subjected to mock executions whilst trying to reach Zawiya. After being held for 21 hours, they were released and have now left the country. The International Committee of the Red Cross says Libya is now in a state of civil war. It's reporting that doctors there are seeing a sharp rise in casualties, who are mainly civilians. The ICRC has called on Libyan authorities to grant its aid workers access to more of the country, including Tripoli. A short while ago, I spoke to human rights activist Mohammed Ibrahim Al-Elaji, and he's the former Secretary-General of the Libyan Human Rights Society. I asked him what he made of the latest reports of human rights violations in Libya.
Violations of human rights in Libya are not something new. They started from the early 70s with the dissolution of the Union of Students, and the students were hanged inside the campus in Benghazi, in addition to the massacre of Abu Slim prison. And violations continue in Benghazi and AlJazeera, crime against humanity and ethnic cleansing, genocide, other crimes are being perpetrated currently in Libya.
So can I just ask you, do you believe Colonel Gaddafi would let a UN or EU missions actually investigate? Because he's, at some stages, said invited the UN in to investigate. Would that be a genuine offer, and would they be given freedom of access?
No, I don't believe he will allow them. In any event, the issue of violations against human rights in Libya does not require any investigations. It has become common knowledge now, and it is known to one and all. It is history of human rights violations and infringements in Libya.
Sorry, let me just stop you. I'm just getting some snaps coming in on Reuters news agency precisely about Saif al-Islam. He's said that time has come for a full-scale military action against the Libyan rebels. That's Saif al-Islam saying that. What will that mean in practice, do you think?
I assume that Saif al-Islam is not a military man. He is a reformist, and he always preached constitutional amendments, human rights advocate. This was his public image, and now he turned into a military leader, a military commander, willing to prevent or to muzzle the Libyan people and prevent them from voicing their own freedom. This is what we are going to see next in the coming days.
So do you think that would you actually want to see foreign intervention in Libya at this stage?
Of course, no. I support the no-fly zone to prevent the Libyan jet fighters from bombarding innocent, unsuspecting civilians in Al-Zawiya, Brega and Ras Lanuf. With the no-fly zone, at any event, the political issue, I leave it to the interim National Council, who is currently representing all of us.
In Yemen, thousands of people have continued to demonstrate despite a pledge from their president for change. The opposition has rejected new concessions by the leader to create a parliamentary system. Ashram Al-Bara has more from Sana'a.
It's a parliamentary promise aimed at ending Yemen's long-running political stalemate, but it's already received a rough response.
A committee will be formed to draft a new constitution based on separation powers. A referendum on the changes will be held by the end of this year. 2, we will move to a parliamentary system where all the executive powers will be transferred to the government, which will be elected by the parliament by the end of 2011. We will also put in place a decentralized political and administrative system.
The proposals follow previous concessions, including a pledge by the president to stand down in 2 years. Those too were rejected. But President Saleh's advisors stressed the historic nature of what's on offer.
I think this is an unprecedented announcement, and it's unique almost